Hi YouTubers, it's Steve Robertson again calling from Rescape, my channel that seeks to aid people living more beneficial lives and improving themselves by making them aware of their fundamental perception of reality and how they can be altered by examining new information and maybe providing some of that information and just allowing people to be more aware in general. Today I'm going to go into what I call structural alignments. This is going to be the first of a series. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, go back. You'll need to watch tension, wholeness, purpose. I mean, I guess, I don't know. You might as well just watch all of them. But continuing on the idea of wholeness and what makes a human being whole, and then tensions that block perception and break wholeness, and then how to become a softer person in whatever different way to minimize tensions, and then also on top of this, oh yeah, and then how perception, how a judgment based on truth is a structural alignment, and a judgment based off false perception is a tension. So all of these tensions I'm going to be talking about are going to be false perceptions and just how we relate and what we hold fundamentally to be true. I'm going to stick with ones that are pretty much widespread among everyone in our society, if not the whole world, and then what the correction is to that, such that you go from a tension to a structural alignment in truth, and then how that structural alignment will then line up your desires and then your actions so that you'll be living, dare I say, a correct life. I mean, morality aside, there are certain ways I think humans are supposed to live by default, and then that's hampered by misperceptions caused by, you know, just the person being stupid or what, you know, or just maybe the government entity or media or whatever, if you want to go there. I think it's just human nature in general. We're just dumbasses. Like I mean, if you really think about it, you know how like little kids, like let's say you're not like an infant, but like let's say you're a toddler or like a 2 to 4-year-old, somewhere in there, and like every other mammal or animal in the animal kingdom, like by the time they're 2, they're like learning how to hunt and like, you know, walking along with the pack or whatever. Like with humans, it's not that they're not doing those things, it's that they're specifically seeking out ways to kill themselves. Like you have to, like with a 2-year-old, if you leave them alone for like a minute, like they're going to be like sticking their finger in a light socket or putting something in their mouth that's going to choke themselves to death. Like how that worked out evolutionary wise, I have no idea, but it's a great example of sort of like how, if you consider God to be your spiritual father, and then let's say you don't know God, but you in fact are a child of God, and I believe everyone's a child of God, and how the angels would see you like interrelating with God. Like you don't recognize God. Like infants don't recognize their parents. They have to get, you know, grow into that knowledge over time. And so you have this little toddler that's just now getting to know their parents, and they're killing themselves. And so that's how a lot of people are in their beginning their spiritual journeys. They'll just do really stupid things, and it's based off misperception. So today's tension is what I'm going to call more is better. And more is better is pretty much rampant in at least the United States and in most first world countries, because it goes hand in hand with capitalistic greed. Now, I'm not against capitalism at all. I support capitalism, but the consumerism that comes out of that, and then like side effects of that, capitalism would work a lot better without the more is better tension. And now more is better, in case you haven't already figured this out, which by the title, but like, let's say like, who's going to turn down $1 million? Someone's like, here's $1 million. I'm like, what for? Just to have it. It's like, okay, so everybody's going to take $1 million, pretty much. I mean, maybe it's just not, you're a hermit, it's just not worth your time, you just don't feel like doing anything with it. Most people would take $1 million. Now, you'd be like, well, would you rather have $1 million or $10 million? And it's like, well, take the 10 million, obviously. Well, what about $1 billion? What about $1 trillion? What if you had all the money in the world? Like, people will go for the most amount of money. So then the question becomes, if more is better is incorrect, and that's a version of more is better, what would it look like? Like, at what point would someone be like, no, man, it's like $10 million, $10,500,000, that's good for me. It's like all the other money you can just give to charity or something like that. But that is really what happens, and the limiting reagent then would be time. It's like people try to figure out how to make money the best way they can, and maybe more fun ways or more ways that are more skilled. But it really comes down to, just even if you don't even look at it from a monetary level, but just like a capitalistic like structure, like a labor level, like everything you buy has to be put together or like created, or there has to be someone involved doing that, or even if it's just like nature, just like growing plants or something. But there's a time factor in this, and we aren't immortal. So we have to budget really how we go about doing these things. So there's like an equilibrium here. And this isn't just with money, this is everything. Like you could say, well, everybody wants a hotter wife, or a husband makes more money, or a bigger house, or whatever, a cooler car, however you want to look at it. Maybe you want to go to a better college or whatever. So there's always more. And so what that does, when you have that fundamental perception of reality, and that's ingrained into you, which I think it is in all of us, horribly so, that creates the desires such that you always want more, and you're wanting things that you can't have, or at least you don't think you can have them. And then from those desires ends up being actions where you're striving for things that aren't going to give you what you want. And then even if you have them, you're going to want something, the next thing. You're always wanting the next thing. So you guys kind of see what I'm getting at here. I mean, I'm sure this has been brought up before by all sorts of different people. What I'm hoping maybe unique to this channel is that the solution that I'm presenting to this isn't to change your actions or what you want, because you can't really change what you want. But if you are aware how you perceive reality to be that way, and you want that to change, even that you aren't going to be able to change. But if you hear an alternative, you can choose to believe that alternative, and then you can try it out, and maybe you just adopt it for a little bit, and you do your desires maybe go towards that way, and your actions go towards that way, and you're like, hey, yeah, this feels more right. Like I feel more in line with how I should be, or the universe, or whatever. So the structural alignment with this is going to be really hard for most people. When I first tell you, you're going to be like, oh, well, that's a cop-out, or something like that, because it seems cheesy, and it's like, how are you going to apply that? Like, how's that going to make me not want $10 million or something like that? So these things have to be worked into. When I give you a structural alignment, if you maintain it, the fact that it's called alignment means you put stress on it, and if it can hold up a weight, well, now put more weight on it. So for example, let's say someone gets fired and they have good structural alignment in what I'm about to give you, then they'll be like, oh, well, I'll find another job, and it doesn't affect them because they don't think, oh God, I got fired. But let's say they go to jail, and now they're in jail for 10 years. Now that same structural alignment may not hold up against that. This is a structural alignment here. Whatever circumstance you're in that moment, whatever's immediately within your vicinity and on you, like the clothes you wear, maybe food you're eating, people you're with, the building you're in, just really things that we see random, whatever that moment is. Like if we took a snapshot of wherever some random person was, it's a random point in time, no matter if that person is conscious or even unconscious, if they're alive, whatever is with that person, and even internally, like in the mindset, and like your energetic state and like emotional state and things like that, whatever that person's in is enough for that person at that point in time. It's like there's no need based. If there was a need based there, it would have already been met. And then you can be like, well, what if someone's in an electric chair or something like that? Like you could go into different reasons like this, and our minds can come up with scenarios that probably aren't going to occur. Extreme scenarios where this structural alignment wouldn't hold up, because you'd be in an electric chair and be like, well, screw that. It's like, this is definitely not enough. I don't want to die. But if you can get to the point where it's just like, I'm having pizza in my living room just by myself, and man, I wish I had a better car, but you're not with your car right now. So why are you thinking about a car you're not with? And maybe you want better friends, except none of your friends are with you. So if you're thinking about friends, that's just really a thought in your head. And if you're really present with what you are right then and there, you can just be enjoying your pizza. And that's being whole. When you're just enjoying eating the pizza, let's say you got fired. Let's say you're going to go to jail for 10 years tomorrow, and this is your last day, and this is the last thing you're going to eat before you go to jail, and you're just enjoying the pizza. That's a lot of pressure on the alignment. But if you have a really strong structural alignment that what you immediately have is enough, then you can enjoy that pizza, and it's not that you're blocking out the fact you're going to prison in your mind, it's literally that it's not relevant because it hasn't happened yet. And so let's say, well, here's $1 million and here's $10 million. It's like, well, what's money? It's numbers on a piece of paper. Okay, so with this $10 million, I'm going to buy a mansion. Okay, well, the mansion, you're not worthy, you're going to buy the mansion right now. And so I know it sounds pretty cheesy, but what it leads up to is that if you can be content with what you are in any situation, then the way your desires and actions are going to line up is that you really could be rich if you wanted to. Like if you really wanted a mansion, the way to get the mansion isn't to think like, oh God, it's so much money, da 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 da. It's literally like, I am rich right now. What can I do right now? And when you understand that, it's like at that point, the limit to your wealth and to what you have and to anything that happens in your life at that point. If your alignment can stay structured in that truth, the limit is literally what you want. Like the desire in your heart is going to set the limit, and that's why more is never enough, because your desire is limited. Like maybe you don't want a mansion, maybe you just want a little cottage in the wood, and now you have all this extra money for a mansion, and it's just money you're not using. So there's an equilibrium in nature of like osmosis and how things flow one way or the other, and yin and yang and things like that. And you'll reach a point in your desires when you're really in touch with your spirit and like what your true nature desires are, where you'll reach a point and then more doesn't add to it. Like you're content with what you have, and then that's the contentment that you should have your whole life. Whole people have that. If you keep the alignment, it'll always be there. And this is definitely something to work towards. I'm still working towards it. And just to tweak it, like you can have it. Maybe when you first start out, you're not good at it, but maybe you make a whole day and you can do that. And then it's like, but then something breaks it, and you're like, okay, well, you know, recalibrate. Well, like, well, what was I holding to be true that was incorrect that allowed me to lose that structural alignment, lose my contentment? And then it gets stronger. And the more you work on it, the more situations you're in, and God will just add more and more weight to that, and it will just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And this is true with all of your alignments. This is just one of them, and I'm only going to do one at a time because these videos will get long if I do more than one. But this is real. Like, you can really do this. Like, people don't think you can do this because nobody's doing it, and you look at all your friends and nobody's doing it, but you can really do it. So believe me and give it a shot and post in the comments. And if you have any questions, let me know. My name's Steve Robertson. This is Rescape Day 10. Thanks, bye.